Fube, peace and blessings. This is Misael Bay, aka Warlock Asylum, coming at you once again with another lesson from the Simon Necronomicon. And today we're going to be talking about what is known as the Maklu Text. And this will probably be a brief discussion because it's very self-explanatory, this part of the text. So I hope you're enjoying the series, and if you enjoy it, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen since we're discussing, and here we go. Let me just share this, and we can all see here the book Maklu of the Burning of Evil Spirits. So basically, the Maklu Text is a book that deals primarily with banishings. It's performed over the Agamasaratu, and the instructions are recited after the watcher has been summoned, so that the watcher can carry out whatever work that the priest or priestess would like to have done. It's kind of interesting, this part of the text, because as we can see in the reading of itself, it says that these are the books of banishing. So we have, this going on. And one thing, there's a couple of jewels in here. I'm not going to dig too deep into this. But one, know that the evil spirits are principally 7 for the 7 maskim. And these are the antitheses of the planets. We have that. We get to see a lot in the second paragraph of the Maklu text. And I'm going to read that. It says, know that the evil spirits are principally 7 for the 7 maskim who tear away at the heart of a man and mock his gods. And their magic is very strong, and they are the lords over the shadows and over the depths. Okay, of depths of the seas, and reign once, it is said, over Megan, from which they came. Okay, so for those who are aware, sorry, this camera's shaking. For those who are aware, the Simon Tome is a book of shadows. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. The Simon Tome is a book of shadows, and there's a lot of, traps that quote unquote people who are around the book's production have mentioned about the text. So that should be noted, that there's a lot of traps in the Simon Necronomicon. So a lot of the symbology of the text, once you're aware of that, you won't take one thing for another. That's the key thing. One brother had pointed out to me some of the symbols that appear in angelic text, specifically like of the 3 signs of Mashu. One particularly being the sign of the Watcher, which is not to be used alone. And from those instructions, you could tell that the Watcher is a very untamed force. It says that in the text. But the sigil that it uses is very similar to an angelic spirit in some halls of Christian mysticism, and also Kabbalistic magic. Okay, and so the thing is that when a symbol is utilized from one grimoire to the next, it doesn't mean it has the same meaning as what it did in that grimoire. It could have an entirely new, different meaning in another text. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of it is based upon the emotion that is surrounding it, the author's description of it. All these things reform this energy. Okay, and so I just wanted to point that out as we were discussing some of this. But there's a very valuable principle I'm going to talk about in paragraph 2 of the Maklu text. Here we get the chance to learn quite a few things. It says, know that the evil spirits are principally 7, for the 7 maskim who tear away the heart of a man and mock his gods, and their magic is very strong, and they are the lords over the shadows and over the depths of the seas. And once reign is said of Omega, from whence they came. The banishing and exorcism are to be pronounced in a clear voice, without trembling, without shaking. The arms should be held over the head in the attitude of a priest of Shamash, and the eyes must behold the spirit of the god Shamash, even though it be a time of his sleeping of Shamash behind the mountains of the scorpion. No word is to be changed. So here we see a couple of things. One, we learn about these 7 energies, which are actually the energies that are utilized in the walking process. And, it may take time for a person to figure that out. The second thing that we see is that um, in the tradition of this tone, there are different styles of priests. There's priest of Shamash, there's priest of Enki, and that sort of thing. And the priest of Shamash pose is like this. It's like a pose of distress, because that's what the Muzi was doing when he was in the underworld, and actually should be over the head, so it should be like this, you see. One of the biggest banishings in here, there's actually a Maklu text that's a bit more authentic. This is more of a modern rendition. I wouldn't even say of the text, but just of the concept of exorcisms and banishings. And since the Simon tone uses various elements outside of the Mesopotamian paradigm, while the original Maklu tablets could be utilized, and I think those tablets are invoked during a certain time of year, which would probably be in the sign of Leo. One might find what appears here to be much more appropriate. Exorcism of the Crown of Anu. This is a very good exorcism. There's several others that appear here. And when you get familiar with the language and some of the translations, some of these banishings are translated in the earlier part of the introductory notes. You can gravitate to some words that are repetitively used in the Simon tone, some ancient Mesopotamian scripts. The Conjurations of the Mountains of Mashu is also another very good one. All of them are good, but it's a very encryptic text also. There's a lot of meat in here and its symbolism and different things that it takes time and study to really understand, and practice for a person to do. One thing that I can say is that with the instructions given in the previous part of this paragraph, in the first paragraph, where it opens, it says, "Here is the banishings, the burnings, and the bindings handed down to us by Enki the master. They'll be performed over the Agamasaratu with the appropriate images described herein." A lot of what appears in this section, some of this could also be supplemented with traditional hoodoo work. People may find that beneficial. And it's something that the user wants to use with honor and dignity. What does it mean when it says that these things were handed down to us by Enki? Well, Enki is sort of like a deity of the crossroads. Actually, he is a deity of the crossroads in ancient Mesopotamian lore. He originally held down the place. He was a mercurial god. When the Babylonians came in, he was elevated to a different status, and Nebo was placed as a mercurial god. But amongst the Sumerians, he was actually a mercurial deity. Enlil was a Jupiterian deity. So in the Sumerian paradigm. But that being said, what I mean to say is that Enki, when he gives something, there's always a lesson in it. And a lot of times I've heard some people ask questions about doing certain things with the Simon tone, to get at an individual or different things of that nature. And basically the sum of those things is always going to be what brings balance. So any request that you make with the Simon Necronomicon, it should be primarily be to deal with balance, because that's even why those arts was given to man. It's to bring balance. I think in Gates of the Necronomicon, it talks about how the tome and the workers were supposed to be protectors of Earth from negative forces. Some people want to use it in different ways, and that's their prerogative because that's their understanding. But primarily, the book is used to banish negativity and to defend the planet against negative forces. And so, that being said, the way it's arranged, the wording, the spells that appear in it, are all about bringing balance into society. Sometimes things can happen. I've seen a lot of different things with the work of the Simon Tome, but primarily it's about balance, And so, as you study more the Maklu text in conjunction with the rest of the tome, that's what you come to realize. So this, like I said, was a brief lesson. I just want to touch on some points concerning the Maklu text, and we'll catch you again. This is Misael Bey, aka Warlock Asylum, concluding another lesson from the Simon Necronomicon. Have a good night.